presented by Horns and Hooves Entertainment. You are watching Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome, Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, February 2nd. Yes, the groundhog did see a shadow, so we're stuck with 6 more weeks of winter. But anyways, of course, we've got our usual guys here in the neighborhood today. So we have, of course, Bobby here and Sean, Mr. Bubba Matt. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, can't complain, man. Ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. And of course, for everybody in Buffalo, get ready. We're going to get some snow tonight, but it shouldn't be as bad as what we had 2 weeks ago Monday. So, and then, of course, Brittany's in the background here. She'll jump on eventually. And we've got a lot of stuff to pack into the next hour. So if you guys want to jump on the show, 929-205-6099 gets you on the air. You get to talk to all of us here, and let's get started. So the big news that came out of One Bills Drive this week, first and foremost, Brian Daboll was named the head coach of the New York Giants. There is some backstory we'll talk to you all about a little bit later, but with Brian Daboll being named the head coach, and then of course some of the comments that came out, basically where he said it took a village to make Josh Allen who he is.
Sean, go first, man.
A village to make Josh Allen the way he is. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Like,
basically,
well, is that supposed to be an insult or?
Yeah, it actually is an insult. When somebody says that it took a whole village, it basically means that I'm taking away all your credibility. You're a good athlete, but I'm the reason that you were there in the first place.
Oh, jeez.
That's basically what Daboll is saying.
If that's true, then I'm glad he's with the Giants.
Yeah, and there was also other issues we'll get to later. But as far as Daboll is concerned, I've also heard rumors that he wanted out long before the interviewing for the Giants, and it was simply because he wanted to make his own plays. And instead of, McDermott taking any sort of accountability, which he did, which was fixing the run game, Daboll didn't want to go to the run game.
I guess my first question is, why on earth would he not want to use the run game? I mean, you have Singletary, which when we finally started using the run game, literally the last week of the season, and then in the entire playoff run, look what happened. We actually had a balanced offense, and we were actually able to make some things happen, such as touchdowns. Hey, Brian Daboll, 6 points is better than 3, jackass.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, but I want to
win with 6, not 3.
Oh, but I wanted to be more conservative on the run game. I wanted to do better on the passing play.
Dude, screw conservatism when it comes to stuff like this, man. Jeez Louise, freaking check your ego.
Right. And the big thing is, when you have a lead, you don't go conservative. You put your foot on someone's throat and you crush it until you win.
Yeah, you grow a set, man. You do something about it.
Well, apparently that's not how it works, apparently, according to Mr. Daboll, because that guy is a fucking jackass.
Yeah. It's like Daboll. Gosh. It's like, do you understand what you're getting into? You have Daniel Jones, who hasn't done shit in the NFL for the last 4 years. You have to use a run game, dude. You have to use a run game. You're not going to win with Daniel Jones' arm.
Right. Well, and what are you going to do with Saquon Barkley if you're not a big fan of the run game? What are you going to do with him?
Simple. Just trade him to the Bills. He'll come here.
Shoot, I'll take it.
I will gladly.
I would take that in a heartbeat. But all in all, though, I will say is that if it takes, in quotation, if it takes Josh Allen an entire village to get where he needs to be today, what's it going to take for Daniel Jones to be where he's at? A fucking country the size of Canada? Well, how about the size of China?
Yeah, probably. And then it probably still won't even get there.
I don't know what they're going to do. But as far as I'm concerned, Daboll, I'm glad, has gone at this point. I mean, I always liked him. I always respected him. But there were times where you would question his gaming decisions based on the run game or the passing game and whatever. Because his ability to have Allen run the ball or passing the ball. It was always the key factor for Josh Allen, and that's why he's indestructible. So now with him out of the picture, he's already gotten himself into trouble with the team to begin with. So there you have it. Same with Joe Schilling. What the hell happened?
I know, really. I mean, I'm sorry, Daboll, but you got to have a balanced offense to be able to do anything. And I kind of look at it in this way too. The Jacksonville game, the Indy game. If we would have actually run the damn ball and not relied on Josh Allen the entire freaking game, maybe we would have had 2 extra wins, which could have helped us in this playoff run. So yes, Daboll, running the ball is a good thing. It's something you learn in football. It's called football 101, buddy.
Yeah. And another thing too, I will say is for the way it sounded more like to me that Daboll's ego was bruised during the playoffs.
What else can you say about it, man? I mean, look, I don't even know what to say about after that, man. Just Jesus Louise, this is what happens when you let your ego talk for you, like for real. This is literal proof.
Right. I mean, and he was just so over reliant on the passing game. I mean, yes, can Josh Allen be someone like a Peyton Manning or someone of that caliber? Absolutely. He's got the tools. He can do it. But look at Peyton Manning when they relied on him in Indy to be basically 100% of the offense. When they had like barely any run game, Indy wasn't doing great. Every team has to have a running game. Every team has to have a passing game. And you've got to be able to mix and match based on what your opponent gives you. And quite frankly, we didn't use the run game enough. And when we finally opened up the playbook and let Devin Singletary run the ball, he actually had some great games.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think of what would have happened if we actually had the run game in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, like even looking back further, what would have happened if we mixed in Matt Breida earlier in the season instead of only giving him a look like in 3 games? I mean, come on.
Basically, I mean, the way I look at it is that, to me, it's more of Daboll's ego that got bruised through all this process rather than Sean McDermott, because McDermott is a head coach. And you have to take into consideration, too, this guy runs the team. He runs every operation with not just the Buffalo Bills, but within, football operations, who they bring in and stuff like that. He's a big influence. And if Daboll doesn't want to be part of that, so be it. He ended up going to the Giants, which he's like, thank God I left because now I get to do what I want. And on top of all that, he's going to destroy the Giants already. And not only that, but being a massive racist. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that part I know nothing about.
Well, did you hear the full story behind all this?
No, I didn't.
Well, you're going to be really insulted because Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson jumped on the bandwagon for this and actually proved that Jimmy Haslam, and I'll get to this in a little bit. So to give you a brief story is Brian Daboll went for 2 interviews with the Giants, and the night Daboll was hired as the Giants head coach, Joe Schoen already had plans to hire Daboll, and they brought in Flores just to sympathize the Rooney Rule. And they made him sit there at the dinner table for dinner, sitting there talking, and they're like, "Oh, Coach Daboll, good to see you, man. Oh, what's up? Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to give you the head coaching job. Oh, Brian Flores is right here. Okay, talk to you later. Bye." And that's basically what happened. And they made him come back for a second interview, knowing full well he was not going to get the job. And and Flores, of all people, sued the Giants because of, quote, discrimination. And then other information came out basically saying that they interviewed Patrick Graham and they interviewed Leslie Frazier. So his argument is a little bit invalid if you think about it, because his argument is that they're not hiring him because he's black. And I don't agree with that. I think it's more of an ego mindset to me, because how do you know Flores has a big ego? How do we know this?
Wow. Honestly, this This makes me think all the virtue signaling the NFL did with all the end races and stuff and hate and all that stuff. And ironically, this mess happens to them. So honestly, they did this to themselves. But at the end of the day, okay. Now that you mentioned it, where was any hint of racism in this situation?
Well, apparently Flores says that it was racist how the Giants treated him, cooking him dinner, watching them get Daboll as he's at the table. Like, I understand what he's coming from as far as like, emotionally torturing him, as far as hiring someone else over him. But dude, it's a business. Get over it. There's plenty of coaching jobs available. And if you count up all the coaches, because there's 32 coaching jobs available, there's only one black coach in the entire NFL right now. One. And that is Mike Tomlin.
Right.
Mm.
And that's very true.
So,
and then
yeah, so that
yeah.
Go ahead.
And then the interesting thing that comes out is Bill Belichick, out of all people, is the one that sent the tweet to Brian Flores congratulating him on getting the Giants head coaching job.
I think I saw that one. I think that's when he actually meant to say Brian Daboll.
Right.
Oh gosh.
So, but basically the Giants are not the only team being sued. The Denver Broncos are getting sued also.
Yep, and the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
Oh,
and now the Dolphins. Yeah, that's a totally different situation in a way because, I mean, their owner Stephen Ross is a jackass, anyways. He ended up wanting to pay Brian Flores allegedly $100,000 a game to totally tank, and then get them a better draft position. So it's like, oh hey, so here's some extra money in your pocket. And then the thing is Brian Flores gave him 2 winning seasons, and just because he disagreed with the tanking aspect of everything, he disagreed with having Tua on the team because Tua is not that great of a QB selection. He would have rather had Mac Jones, and then other things of that nature. Stephen Ross fires him. So,
yeah, and I also read a report too that said on Sunday during the AFC Championship game, and the report is that during the time of all this feud, the relationship between Flores and Dolphins really went downhill, like you said, for impromping, which is illegal, by the way, and Stephen Ross should be in jail for that. And the other thing too that came out was there was a report that basically said at the time, keep in mind, this was 2020, there were 2 claims. The first one was they wanted to trade 3 first-round draft picks to the Bengals just for them to get the first overall pick and take Joe Burrow.
Yeah. So the whole thing with Stephen Ross, going back to your point, he should be forced to sell the team. In that case, look what happened with Donald Sterling of the LA Clippers when he ended up coming out with his racist stuff. And then the NBA banned him for life and they forced him to sell the team. And he ended up with a big settlement as a result of that. I mean, Ross should be out of the NFL if that's the case.
Yeah, and on top of all that, there was also a claim by Brian Flores himself, who thinks that Stephen Ross was tampering during the 2020 free agency frenzy when Tom Brady was a free agent and tried to send out a yacht to have Brady come in for and have a one-on-one conversation with Miami before talking to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, which, of course, tampering in the NFL is completely illegal. So
Stephen Ross has already committed 2 crimes.
Yeah, and literally, it's something that can get him banned from the NFL.
I do not think they're going to do anything about it because nepotism. Well, actually, no, that's not nepotism. Sorry. That's more of like capitalism because of the fact that, Stephen Ross is the owner and they can't force him to sell because of these allegations because the NFL doesn't have any balls to do it anyway. And I'm not saying that to be a pessimist, but I'm being serious, that they won't do anything about it. And that's the part that sucks.
Right. Although there is precedence in the NBA for doing it, but the NFL, I mean, Lord knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, Brittany said it's a money thing, basically.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Quite honest.
Yeah, so Flores is going to have his hands full. But does this guy understand that he's jeopardizing his whole career?
I mean, I get it. I mean, I totally get it. And I mean, if this stuff, let's just say the allegations are true, then the NFL is going to have a shit ton of problems to worry about because, I mean, the thing is this. Are there black candidates that are absolutely qualified for a job? Absolutely, 100% yes. Are there black candidates that should be in head coaching jobs? Absolutely, 100% yes. There's several of them, and I will say this: Brian Flores should not have been fired from the Dolphins. I mean,
Absolutely.
he had that team going in a good direction, and just because he butted heads with ownership, I think that's all on Stephen Ross. I don't think that's necessarily on Flores, because I mean, if you have a 1-7 team, 1-8 team, and you end up ripping out like 7-8 straight wins, and you just miss the playoffs, but you still finish over 500. I mean, come on. He had that team turned around, and they were focused, and they went on a big winning streak, and they absolutely had a chance to potentially take over the AFC, given how the Bills were playing and given how the Patriots were playing at the end of the year. So there is definitely some merit to that. And I mean, let's look at some other candidates. Byron Leftwich, he's going to be taking over as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, most likely. There's some very good candidates, and it's just a matter of, hey, let's give everyone a fair shot based on their performance. Race shouldn't be a thing these days. It shouldn't be. And it shouldn't have been all this time either.
Yeah, I have a theory behind all this. And my theory is the NFL themselves set up this whole thing, because there was a rule that came out, I believe, a year or two ago. I don't remember exactly. If one of you remembers, let me know, correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure the NFL set up a rule that said that they're emphasizing the Rooney Rule, which basically says if you want to hire a black coach or a black executive, you have to give up a draft pick just based off their skin color. And you don't get anything in return if you hire a white coach. Like, why does that matter? I mean, the rule itself is racist.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't even know this. I didn't even know this started back in the early 2000s. Like, I've just heard about it like a couple years back, and like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and actually, Bob, I think we covered it on one of the shows. I want to say, I think it was like early season 1 when we started this show. We actually covered it a little bit.
What, this topic about the
about that change to the Rooney Rule?
Yeah, like, I don't like the fact that they're hiring coaches based off their skin color. I don't appreciate that one bit, because it makes them feel like second-class citizens. It's like hiring a Jewish coach, but you have to give up a draft pick for a Catholic person. It's like it's so inappropriate, though. Even for the NFL standards,
it
really is.
I know.
I don't agree with that one bit. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with it.
Me either. And it's one of those things. I mean, hire the best candidate given the qualifications. Race should not matter one bit. And the thing is that there's so many good candidates out there. And yet, one of the things I think that happens is that a lot of these teams get stuck with these retread coaches that don't do shit, and yet they're comfortable with them. I mean, give somebody a chance that truly deserves it based on their record. And, that's basically what we look at. Look at Kansas City's coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. Great candidate. Yeah. Absolutely should get a shot. I mean, and then there's several others on top of that. I mean, Flores should not have been fired. I think that what's going to happen, and this is just my gut feeling, and I think right now Flores probably will not have a position for a while just because he said what he said. But I totally get why he said what he said, because it's truth.
Yeah, but even if he loses the lawsuit, the NFL is going to have their hands full.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to deal with it for a while. And I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, Tomlin's been successful. I mean, there's been good coaches, just what it really should be, just give everybody an equal chance based on their record and let things happen. Let the best person get the job. It's
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like our show. I mean, we, when we first started the show, and it's almost 2 years ago now. Well, it will be 2 years ago this coming May. We've had some different co-hosts here and there, but I mean, the group, now we have 6 of them. And I mean, and it doesn't matter, who we selected, we basically, when we looked at who we brought on, I mean, actually, Matt, I think you were one of the first that we actually brought on way back, because I know Bobby found you, and we've loved having you ever since, and you've been a permanent fixture of this show, and you bring a lot of good stuff to it, and same thing with everybody else that we've got here. Trevor being our newest one, who joins us when he can now. I mean, it's one of those things. Did race play a part in it? No, it's basically who we get along with the most, and you're a big part of that. So, it's just kind of how it works. And same thing. I mean, it's all about who we think is the best for what we want to do, and that's how we went about it. So
yeah. So Tron, let me ask you a question, guy. If you were an NFL coach, because you're obviously a black guy, and I'm not going to use that against you, but let's scenarily say that you're qualified as an NFL coach, and somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, we want to interview you for the head coaching job," and then all you happened to find out was all the bullshit that Brian Flores just went through. And if you're a black coach in the NFL from now to the next decade, would you want to take on an NFL job, especially as a coach?
I mean, honestly, I would say yes, because like not every franchise is going to be the same thing, because at the end of the day, it's all about it's all about experience and history, accomplishments and all that stuff. That's what it comes down to. And honestly, I find it ironic that this whole lawsuit situation started in the beginning of this month, which it's Black History Month. So
yeah, I don't know. I feel like at this point, even if it weren't Brian Flores, I think anybody who's using race to get a job in the NFL, I think it's kind of reachable. Like, it's a bit of a reach, but at the same time, it makes you look like an asshole. And I think Brian Flores, it could very well be, the allegations could very well be true, but I don't think that, he's making his case any better, because what's going to happen now? My theory is, because of all the allegations coming out, I have a very strong feeling the Texans are going to hire Brian Flores just to bend the knee for the NFL to hire a black coach, even if they don't want to hire him.
It's just so dumb, man. This is why I hate it when people try to bring race into everything.
I agree.
It drives me nuts. You want to hire somebody? Look at their past accomplishments. Look at their experience.
Exactly.
Jeez Louise, man.
Exactly. And it should be that for everything, not just the NFL coaching ranks. I mean, I think a lot of what's happened is just society has gotten so polarized on everything, and it's, let it be the best person for the job and who the best fit is for the job. And that's really what it should always be. I mean, quite honestly, it shouldn't even have to come down to having a Rooney Rule or having an enhanced Rooney Rule that came out. Just let it be the best person for the job. I mean, Mike Tomlin, he's been with the Steelers almost 15 years. Look at what he's done.
Yeah.
In that time, winning a Super Bowl title, and he's gone there twice. So, there's some very, very good coaches out there. It's like, just give everybody an opportunity, but it shouldn't be just based on race or religion or anything like that. Have it be on the person's qualifications.
We have let wokeness control everything in this country. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is a big problem. And I mean, it's just, and unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to get better anytime soon, but I'm hoping that, we'll see things for what they are at some point. But we do have a couple comments in the chat. So of course, Katie Trent says hello to all of us. So hey, Katie, nice to see you here. Our long lost friend Vinny Torcasio, where the hell have you been? It's been like episode 10 since the last time we saw you. He ends up
2 years, Vinny.
Yeah,
Vinny, it's been 2 years, asshole. It's been 2 years.
Come on, Vinny.
Yeah, he ends up asking us, who do you think we are drafting first?
Oh boy.
I'm gonna.
Wow.
Well, for me, it comes down to a coin flip. You have to look at it from both sides. For me, yeah, right. See, Yeah, good guy. That was good. I will give you that. No, what I was saying is that it will come down to that point where you have to look at both sides. And in my opinion, it's going to come down to what their needs are going to be. It really comes down to free agency. But if I'm really aiming at somebody, I would look at cornerback. That's what I would do. Because Levi Wallace will want a big payday, and I don't think he's going to get that in Buffalo.
Right. Plus with Tre'Davious White coming back next season, hopefully. I agree with you there. I think we look at a cornerback first.
Yeah, I have to think they will.
Yeah, the other thing I would also even potentially look at too is potentially getting like another offensive tackle, because I mean Cody Ford ain't doing the job, so I mean we gotta look at replacing him obviously, but let's bulk up that line a little bit, get better blocking so we can open up the run game.
Yeah.
I was just thinking. My bad. I was just thinking. We also got to work on our run defense.
Yeah.
Like big time. So, dang, is it possible we draft a linebacker, or I don't know.
I think they can address that in free agency, because if you think about the big picture, Jerry Hughes is a free agent. Mario Addison is a free agent. Levi Wallace is a free agent. So if you let all those guys go into free agency, let them go elsewhere, and I know it's going to be tough for them because the Bills are contenders, but you want to get younger. And I think that could easily be addressed in free agency if you spend it on the right person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's a prime example. Look at the Bengals. The Bengals, spend all their money on a defensive end and Trey Hendrickson, and look what they're at now. They're in the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a really good.
Yeah. I think they should draft on defense and get seasoned offensive players.
So you want them to draft on defense and get seasonal offensive players?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, speaking of that, our long lost friend Vinny has decided to call in.
Oh my God, it's a miracle.
Hey, we haven't seen you in a while.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's going on, Vinny?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not bad, man.
Good.
You call in more
Pretty
often.
good.
We missed you.
Yeah, I was gonna call in, but I said, you know what? I got some time. Let me set up and join. It's been a while.
Nice, I know. Yeah,
Oh
and
my
I like
God.
the Lions Not Sheep hat you're wearing too. Good stuff.
Very
Thanks,
nice.
man. Gotta
Very
rep
nice.
these days. Gotta rep these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
What are you guys up to?
Yeah,
Well-
I will say this. Benny. You actually took my advice for once, because if you remember 2 years ago, we did that interview and I asked you a question about that Rams helmet, remember? And you were like, I never thought about it. And here you are with a mini helmet.
Yes. I thought I'd display the Super Bowl participants today. Where'd you guys? I know you guys were talking about Brian Flores, which we don't have to get back into it. Yeah, that's a little bit of good for him for calling that out. That's my thoughts on that. And there should be no discrimination. It should be fair all the way across the board. But we know the NFL is pretty woke these days. But were you guys getting into the Super Bowl a little bit at all today, or talking a little bit about?
We didn't get there yet.
You didn't get there. Okay, all right.
But actually, it's not a bad time to jump into it. So what we'll do is let's talk about what we're going to have. Rams versus Cincinnati. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute myself for a moment because I actually got somebody calling me. But Vinny, I'll let you take the honors since it's been a while. So go ahead and lead us with your Super Bowl info.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, I know, guys, with Cincinnati being in and it not being the Bills, of course, it's a little bit of a stinger, but I think we can all say we're pretty happy that the Chiefs got knocked out in the fashion that they did, and kind of being kicked off their pedestal. But I was kind of saying, as far as representing the AFC and starting with them, I'm sure you guys agree that they were the hottest team, along with Buffalo, ending the year, kind of, in my opinion, I thought. So, Joe Burrow, does it get hotter than this right? Does it get hotter than him right now? I don't know. I'm very happy on the NFC side that Matt Stafford finally got into a Super Bowl and, won his first couple playoff games. So I think this is one of the better Super Bowl matchups we'll see. That's why I kind of wanted to hop on and talk about it, because I think, you're going to have, a bloodbath as far as scoring and leaving your hearts on the field. So that's kind of my thoughts early on, but I'm just curious of what you guys think.
I guess we'll go around the table. So, Tom, you want to start off with that?
He's still on the phone.
Of course he is. Tom, get off the phone. Anyway, so let's start with Sean then.
Oh boy. So first off, thank you, Bengals, for avenging us. Lord, it was ironic, people, all the haters on Twitter and whatnot saying that we blew the game in 15 seconds in 13 seconds in overtime. Well, here's the thing, and this is like what goes around comes around, because in 13 seconds, the Chiefs threw the game away, throwing an interception. Like, you want to talk about poetic justice? There you go, right there. So, and the Niners. Look, the Niners were this close to trying to at least tie the game into overtime, but Jimmy Garoppolo, man, didn't look good for him. But for this game, Rams and Bengals, I have a feeling the Rams are going to win, but I am cheering for the Bengals. That's all I can say about that.
Rooting for the AFC, huh?
Absolutely.
I hear you. Like, I'm torn too, like, because I was talking first off, Matt Stafford, I have, the heart for him too. But Burrow being the new class, he's going to be there right with Herbie, right with Allen, right with Mahomes, right with all these guys, so they're going to be around a while. Would it sting a little if Burrow got a Super Bowl before Allen? I don't really think like that. But yeah, of course it would. It would be like, oh, okay, he's got a Super Bowl ring over, but I still think, Allen's the more gifted quarterback. But that's not saying that Burrow's not, elite, but I'm just being biased there with Buffalo. But yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I agree with you. I think the Rams are gonna, but it really a toss up. But I kind of leaning towards the Rams. Bobby, I've been itching to see what you think about this game.
Well, first I'm going to bring that attention to my fiance. I want to ask her about that.
Hey,
about
fiance.
the Super Bowl. What do you think is going to happen in the Super Bowl? What are your odds?
I think kind of what Sean said. I think that the Rams are going to do it, but I would not be upset if the Bengals won. I kind of like what they're doing. I like what they have going, and they did a quick turnaround for the team. I think Joe Burrow's leading the way. And I see a lot of Josh Allen in Joe Burrow, which kind of, makes him exciting to watch. So.
Good point, Brittany. Good point. I agree. I see that too. I see the heart. I see the will of Josh Allen in Burrow. I think he's got that. That's why I'm excited for the next 10 years, 12 years, 15.
Absolutely. So who would you pick to win the Super Bowl?
Like I said, I think the Rams are going to do the upset, but I would be really happy if the Bengals pulled it off. Okay.
And then for me, I have a very interesting intake on this. So just bear with me here.
Uh-oh.
Go for it.
Yeah, I know. You're looking for something. But what I was going to say is like, there is so much imbalance with this game. Like, on one hand, the Rams have home field advantage, and on record, they're technically the road team, and I don't think they care. So that's that. And this is pretty much their last leg to win the Super Bowl. And if they don't, then they have to blow up the team. So they're going to have to try everything in their power in 2 weeks from now to win that ring, because OBJ is a free agent. Von Miller is a free agent. The Rams might be cutting some players. They're going to lose Kevin O'Connell to the Vikings. So there's a lot of mixed emotions going on with the Rams right now. But they have a really solid defense. And I will say that about the Rams. But they have all the tools to succeed. And I think they can do it. But here's the thing. And I read the stat not too long ago. And there's actually two. The first one is, if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow will be the first ever player in the history of the entire sport of football to win a Heisman Trophy a national title, and a Super Bowl, and
Jesus.
including, and on top of that being the first overall pick. And the other stat is, Vinny, I don't know if you know this or not. Maybe you do, but I'm going to say it anyway. And that is Joe Burrow has not lost a playoff game or a championship game since high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
I
Impressive.
didn't. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, I just found that
Holy
out
crap.
like 3 days ago. So Joe Burrow has a lot of swagger, and I really admire him. I really do. He's going to be at least one of my favorite players to watch that's not named Josh Allen. So I really
Right.
like Joe Burrow. And just to throw it on top of all this, Sean, Tom, myself, and Brittany, the four of us are supposed to go to Cincinnati in the fall next year when the Bills play the Bengals. So
Wow.
we're supposed to go to Cincinnati, but it depends on the schedule because we're also trying to work out our honeymoon, but we'll see how that plays out. But on top of all that, I will say this. If everything goes according to plan, and I think it will, I have the Bengals pulling off an upset.
Wow. Okay. I like that. Like you're talking about him, possibly doing this thing a quarterback has never done in the league, winning the championship. Yeah. Or what'd you say it was? The college championship, the Heisman.
Yeah.
And
The
then
Heisman, the national title, and the Super Bowl. And he'll be the first player in the history of the sport to do it if he does.
And you know how I feel he has that it factor that he can easily win. I mean, not easily, but he's easily capable of winning this game where other quarterbacks, you might not be sure of that. That's right. You could see the legitimacy in Burrow. You could see that he has the it factor. So you could see that that's a possibility to happen. Winning 2 playoff games in your second year, but in your first real full year of playing again in the league, it's hard to win playoff games. It's hard. And to beat Kansas City like they did and to stay resilient, and the week before getting sacked 9 times, like all the top analysts are saying in the NFL, you get sacked 9 times in a playoff game, you're probably losing. You're probably losing that game. So a lot of grit there, a lot of heart. And I just want to touch a little bit more on the Rams. I think the Rams acquiring Odell Beckham was one of the best acquisitions for this team to be thrusted in the position they are that anybody's really done. OBJ, I mean, I didn't write him off, but he was kind of dormant, was he not? As far as the Cleveland Brown,
Yeah, he wasn't really doing much with the Browns. And, and kind of thinking about it now, when he ends up going to the Rams, I mean, look at who they've got in offense. I mean, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Van Jefferson, you've got OBJ, and Brian Allen, you've got Austin Corbett as a guard, you've got Sony Michel. I mean, you also, on top of that, look at when they brought in Von Miller during the season.
Oh, I mean, it's almost forgotten about, isn't it?
Okoronkwo being one of the linebackers. I mean, strong. I mean, you've got some really, really good players on that team, and I mean, the Rams basically just ended up lighting it up. I mean, and on top of it, I mean, let's not forget Dante Dayon, and then of course you got Darius Williams. You've got a stacked team out in the West, so. Yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup, but I have to say though, Burrow, I wish we would have taken care of things and not let it go to that overtime. I wish we would have, but the way that Cincinnati's defense stepped up and took control of the Chiefs, especially in overtime when they forced Mahomes to throw that interception.
What Buffalo should have done.
That's exactly what we should have done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to say, that's a dark horse team, but since he can definitely make it happen, Burrow has definitely impressed me.
No doubt. And the Rams are the Rams, back to what you were saying on them, they're an example, in my opinion, of a team that goes out to get the farm to win it.
Yeah.
So like they're a prime position right now to take this. And that's where I kind of almost want, Burrow's so young, and Burrow has, he's going to be in the playoffs for years to come. I mean, it's going to be few and far between that he's not in the playoffs, in my opinion, but that's why I just think that the Rams right now, this is their opportunity. And if Stafford and all the guys that they got, I mean, OBJ, and then we're not even talking about Cooper Kupp, who won the Triple Crown this year.
Yeah.
And, as far as the receivers goes, and, and it's just to prove to you how deep they are, By the way, I was like 10 yards away from what's the tight end? Was it Higbee that got hurt on the Rams? He got hurt early on.
Robert Woods.
But just this last game, the tight end that Blanton took over for him.
Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, Higbee. I was like 10 yards away from like a 5-game parlay. He only needed 10 more yards. It was like the second, then he got hurt. But anyways, yeah. So no, definitely going to be a good Super Bowl. I'm just so glad it's not Brady in there. I'm so glad it's not Rodgers in there. I'm so glad that we're getting some fresh blood in there for an exciting Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And of course, guys, if you want to call in, do like Vinny did. Give us a shout. 929-205-6099 gets you on here. Let's talk about Brady is finally done.
Yay!
He has retired officially this time.
Thank goodness.
Thank God.
Holy crap.
Yeah, you want to hear the biggest slap in the face? Mac Jones going to the Pro Bowl.
Fuck yeah. Josh Allen will win his ass every day to Sunday.
Was it not the coolest thing when Allen was like, no, sorry, I'm good. I got to recover.
Yeah.
Take your 40.
Good for Allen for doing that.
I'm going to Pebble Beach to play some golf.
Yeah. Take your $40,000 game check and go spend it on someone else.
Yeah. It's like this. It's like, hey, Josh Allen, this is the NFL. It's like, we need you as an alternate here. We want you to be in, and we want you to be Lamar Jackson's bitch. And Josh Allen's like, go screw off.
Yeah.
Right.
Forget that.
Yeah. Josh Allen snubbed the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl didn't snub Josh Allen.
Yeah. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But I will say though, is at the end of the day, when you look at the Super Bowl as the way it is, I honestly have the Bengals winning it at this point. I just think they are just too good on offense to not win it. And I know that, and their defense has gotten really hot lately. So I don't know. I just
and when you can beat the Chiefs at home in that stadium, says a lot during playoff games.
Absolutely. So for me, I got the Bengals.
I like that. I like that.
Yep.
I do like that, Bobby. I mean, hey, like you said, it's a toss-up. You know, I do think it's kind of cool. The Rams are home. You know, that plays a factor. But, you know, I don't know. Both teams are stacked. Jamar Chase. I mean, geez, guys, watching him. I don't know if any of you had him on fantasy. I did, but I played against him in the playoffs and got torched. So, you know,
I got destroyed by him earlier in the season. So,
yeah, he's really good. He's going to be up there as one of the top picks, I would think, next year. Not overall, but just maybe first round.
Well, if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, Chase will definitely be the best pick in that first round, hands down.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
How much do you think Joe Burrow's stock goes up as far as fantasy? Let's just say in a 12-man league. Do you think he's one of the top 5, especially posting the absurd numbers he did in the last couple of weeks of the season?
I would say if you're starting a fantasy team, I think Burrow would be in the top 3 based off of his Super Bowl performance. That's how I think people will look at him next year. And I think because he's so young and will have plenty of chances of going back to the Super Bowl, even if they lose, he's going to be in this league for a long time. And I firmly think that Joe Burrow will be a top 3 pick in the draft next year for certain.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to see if he's available in my league, because I mean, here's one thing I do know. This year I got killed right at the end before the playoffs even started, and the QB rotation I had: Josh Allen QB number 1, Tom Brady QB number 2, Baker Mayfield QB number 3, and I still got killed.
Wow.
But I also lost a lot of people for being hurt. But of course, with Brady being gone, and I'm not bringing back Mayfield, I mean, I would consider, if Joe Burrow is available, I'm taking a run at him and I'll buy him in my fantasy league.
Yeah. I think Baker Mayfield is Johnny Manziel 2.0. I said it. Prove me wrong. You got Odell Beckham Jr. on your team for how many years? It was at least 3. I don't know. Maybe it was longer. You have him on your team. You have Jarvis Landry. You have all these weapons. You got the best. And not to talk about the Browns, but man, Baker Mayfield, people still think he's going to be good. You got the best 1-2 combo probably in the league as far as running goes. And you can't do anything with that team. And then OBJ goes with Matt Stafford and lights it up as a possession receiver. He tears it up. Come on. Baker Mayfield out of the league within 3 years. My call. My prediction.
Oh, hey, Detroit Lions. How do you like Jared Goff now?
Oh, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
unfortunately, you never gave Matt Stafford any weapons. You end up trading for Jared Goff, and we know that Jared Goff sucks. So
Yeah.
Jared Goff is ass anyway. I never liked Jared Goff to begin with,
either.
so I never liked him. But
No.
either. But one of the things I do want to get into a little bit, and we have a few other topics we'll talk about before we end up wrapping up in about 15, 20 minutes here. But the Bills made some really good moves in the past couple days, and one of the big changes was offensive coordinator, especially with Brian Daboll getting the nod as the Giants head coach. So of course Ken Dorsey got promoted, which I think it was a very good move. He knows the offense. He works well with Josh Allen and all the guys there. Very well deserved. Keeps a lot of the same things going on. He'll actually probably have a run game, which we talked about ad nauseum earlier. And then one of the things, and I know, Bobby, you were kind of thinking along this last week, but one of the things that came up was Joe Brady is the QB coach, and that was made official. So very good move bringing him in from Carolina.
Yep, absolutely. And he was the last person I thought was going to get hired by the Bills. But if that's what makes Josh Allen amazing, so be it. Do it. Bring him in. Let's see what he can do. I mean, how much better can Allen get? I mean, he's already a star in this league. He's already top 5 QB and hands down, maybe top 3 in the AFC. But as far as like bring Brady and Dorsey in together, I think that's just asking for trouble, specifically for the opposing team, because nobody can figure out Josh Allen at this point, and he's indestructible basically. And I'm not saying he doesn't have his moments, he does, but it's at the point where he's almost like unreadable. It's not like Lamar Jackson where he could just scramble the ball and go 25, 30 yards without getting tackled. You know, Allen is like a triple threat QB, and he's gone.
Yeah. And the sick thing is that Josh Allen's, it's going to be his 5th season next year already.
Unbelievable already. Unbelievable.
Already. Sheesh.
I know. It's like 5 years, and defenses still can't read him.
Yeah. Well, that just proves, I mean, and with his size being 6'5", 245 or 240, whatever he is, I mean, he's starting to separate himself, from these other quarterbacks. And that's where it's like, he's, about like Bobby said, can he get better? Well, did he not even progress this year? I think he did, despite losing 6 games. Okay, yeah, we lose to the Jaguars, we win, we got a home playoff game against KC, maybe things look a little bit different here. We win against Pittsburgh earlier on the season, maybe things look a little bit different here. But losses necessarily don't reflect a quarterback in progression necessarily. I thought he was very smart with the ball. I thought he was very good. I thought he was a lot smarter running the ball, and let's face it, we don't want him getting beat up, running a lot, but he is also a big guy. So he's going to be able to take those hits, unlike, a Burrow going outside the pocket and getting blasted. He can't absorb it like Allen can. So I think he can get better. I really think he can, the progression has been unbelievable. I don't think we've seen this as from a quarterback in NFL history. The progression from rookie year to now, I don't think we've seen that. And I'm not just being biased, but I think we can see more, because I think he, as good as he reads defenses, I think he can get better at that. I think he can get better at looking off players. I think he can get better at even when he's deciding to run or not to run. I think he can get better at checking down plays and calling off plays. All that he does.
I will say, though? I will say this. I'm calling it right now. When it's all said and done, I guarantee you Josh Allen will have a better career overall stats-wise and accomplishment-wise than Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I would say
very possible.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Tom Brady,
it.
but then I was gonna say Tom Brady, but I'm like, that's not gonna happen. So nobody can top Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's impossible to catch up at this point, unless like Allen wins like 8 Super Bowls. Then there's no chance in hell that he's gonna catch up to Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Let's not set our expectations there. But with Ben Roethlisberger, I think you're right, and I think he'll do that in passing alone. But then you add in rushing. Yeah. Forget about it. I
mean,
or better yet,
at the very least, I think Hall of Fame is the best dual threat quarterback to ever play the league by the time his career is over.
You think that's too early to say, Tom, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think with Josh Allen, I don't think he solo as a player can get better. But I think if they keep tweaking his offensive line, then his weapons that he has is going to make him a better player, if that makes any sense. So him
Sure
by
does.
himself, I don't think he can get better, but if you put those people around him, I think then he can progress differently. Which
Yeah, I
they're
think
doing, they're tweaking it, but they gotta, move it a little bit more to the left or to the right to get that perfect setting for him.
Right.
I think you're 100% right there. And I think by hitting on the offensive line, I think you're right on that specifically. We need to beef up the line. And I thought they played good going into the last stretch of the season, including playoffs. But like Brady said, we gotta solidify that line. We gotta solidify that line. You gotta treat him like a Brady. You gotta treat him like gold. He's your investment. And now what? Championship last year, divisional round this year. And, what's left? It's to be in the big game. You think Allen, he's hitting golf balls right now for this weekend, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get back to it. I'm pretty sure he's going to take some time off, but he's thinking about it. And it's different. You get a little bit more experience behind you. As my dad would say, you get a little bit more, you're battle tested. You're a little bit more battle tested. Okay, so it wasn't Allen coming back and finishing the game because he did that twice. 13 seconds left. It was maybe management in the offensive coaching or defensive coaching. So Allen can't help that. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to them to get it all together.
Yeah. I think the key is that they were better after Thanksgiving because they established that run game that they lacked the first half of the season. Mm-hmm. And I think that because he was able to take a break from being just him, it allowed him to see different options. And I think that's what they need to be more consistent with the run game. That's what keeps messing them up.
Well, that's huge.
Right.
I mean, you get that run game going like they did in the back few games of the season, and then in the playoffs. I mean, if it wasn't for that overtime, it's very possible we would have played last week, and who knows what would have happened. So if they can balance that offense more, that's really the big thing. Of course, it's Josh's team. He's going to do what he does. We know he's great at it, but balance it so you don't have to rely on him 100%. Let your running backs do the job and get that blocking going. For the love of God, let's get some big bodies on that line.
And, big credit to Singletary. Singletary not only stepped up in the run game, but he stepped up in the pass block. He stepped up being a teammate. Cover One is great. I follow them on TikTok. I don't know if you guys see some of their Twitter stuff, but Cover One's is very good breaking down plays. And I believe he's from Buffalo and a Bills fan, but they broke down Singletary after every play. Cause Allen hits on it in the conferences about, hey, I urge you guys to watch 26 after the play, during the play and after the play. And Singletary is one of the first players to be near a player, whether it's Beasley on the ground after a reception, Allen after a run, or somebody getting Singletary's there. So he's really, 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 conforming into this back that I think that we're going to keep around for a little bit. And I think he's deserving of it because he's not just a running back. He's a whole full team player. He's small. He's a small guy, but he's doing it.
Yeah. And what? He's proven he can run. So
you know what? I'm gonna say something that might shock a lot of you in this room, but I'm calling it now. The Bills and the Giants will set up a trade in the offseason that will send Saquon Barkley to the Bills, and they'll trade Devin Singletary. Yeah, I firmly believe it.
Boy.
Here's what I think they're going to do. They're going to get Saquon Barkley in a trade from the Giants, and the Bills are going to give up Devin Singletary and 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick just for that.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
I'll still take Barkley any day.
It's very possible. Come on.
Yeah.
If you give Saquon Barkley a good offensive line, which the Bills have, they just have to tweak it a bit. Yeah. If you give him a good offensive line, he'll put over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and you can use one of those picks to draft one of the running backs coming out. There is a pretty good running back class this year.
Yeah. Imagine Josh Allen with Saquon Barkley right now. You have Saquon Barkley's freaking legs, which are ridiculous. He looks like Marshawn Lynch, except he's always hurt. But if you give him the ability on the Bills to fully live up to his potential like he was supposed to when he came out of Penn State, if you give him that offensive line, which I've been saying for a while about the Giants, and you have Josh Allen's mobility, that's a 1-2 punch right there. Think about it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of capital to give up for somebody who got hurt, but I can't say I'd be mad about seeing that. I can't say I'd be mad about seeing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad either, but again, the injury part, that I'll be honest, that kind of scares me a little bit because he did lose the season because of what was it? What the injury? Achilles heel or
I thought it was ACL, right?
ACL? Yeah, ACL.
Yeah,
So,
I agree, Sean. I agree. I mean,
the injury part just scares me a little bit.
Well, again, if you give him an offensive line, Barkley will do fine. And I know the injuries are a big scare, but the Bills, I guarantee you, will trade for Saquon Barkley. I have a feeling because the Giants are not going anywhere with him at this point. They're going to probably blow it up eventually. I mean, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are already buddy with the Bills, obviously from working there. I mean, look what they've done the last couple of years with the Panthers. I mean, they've been making moves from left to right from Carolina, and now they're going to do it again with the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still take the trade if it happens. Don't get me wrong.
You heard it here on Buffalo After Dark by Buffalo Bobby. Saquon Barkley to the Buffalo Bills.
I'm telling you all right now, if he actually ends up going to the Bills by trade to what I was predicting, y'all owe me a shot glass. That's all you got.
All right.
A big fucking glass. How about that?
Fine.
So, of course, Vinny, I still have to have a beer and some wings with you one of these days because I work actually right near you still. So we'll have to do that. And I might have to buy a table off you one of these days, too. So.
Yeah. I'm still making them. So you got to
get that going. But
COVID, that whole thing.
Yeah, of course. but we've got 5 minutes left on the show before we wrap up. So two last things I wanted to touch on real quick. There were some head coaching moves. Biggest thing that came out, Josh McDaniels ends up getting brought on by the Raiders, and then Harbaugh actually got a look by the Vikings.
Well, he was supposed to get the Viking job, but then it went to Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I heard Harbaugh just committed back to Michigan.
Yeah.
Officially.
Coward. What a freaking he's honestly a bitch. I can't fathom the fact that he was about to get the job and then he says, nah, I'm gonna stay in Michigan. Like that's something that Josh McDaniels would do. Oh wait, he did that to Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, true. He did.
I think that's a good move by them. I think that Josh McDaniels will serve the Raiders well out there. I think it's a good move. You know, I don't know what he's going to be like as far as a coach goes, but he's a Bill Belichick disciple. And, he's, despite what you say, he's one of the greatest coaches ever. So it'll be interesting to see what he finally does. Unless he backs out.
Josh McDaniels is a fucking joke. He had a chance. He had a chance 15 years ago with the Broncos and basically shit all over it and got fired.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
And he had the whole cheating gate story again too.
Yeah, he didn't do too hot with Denver. So, what makes you think that he would do any better with the Raiders, considering the fact they're a clown show?
More years of experience, more years of maybe understanding that he was a douche, a little bit, and and I don't know, maybe that, but not worried about them.
Right.
Wasn't he supposed to be?
What do you do with Derek Carr?
Yeah.
They're going to keep him. I will say this. The Vikings, I guarantee, will trade Kirk Cousins. That I guarantee will happen.
Where would he go, you think? Where's a good potential landing spot there?
For me, I'm going to say the Buccaneers.
Okay. I like that.
Either him or Jimmy G. One of the two is going to go to the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I have a feeling about that. But bottom line, that's just what the Steelers. Yeah. Brittany thinks that Kirk Cousins is going to go to the Steelers.
I like it.
It's possible. I mean, they need a QB. I would say Denver needs one too, but I think they're more focused on Rodgers at this point. They're going to fuck him up. I guarantee you. They're going to fuck him up.
Yeah. But I mean, Kirk Cousins to the Steelers would be nice. I mean, Deontay Johnson.
I know. Yeah. I think he's going to go to Denver.
Think so?
Absolutely. Just watch. If Rodgers doesn't retire, he's going to go to the Broncos. He's going to pull a Peyton Manning, and he's going to go to Denver.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, basically have like 1-2 seasons, and there you go. Call it a career.
Absolutely. So, but the bottom line is, let's go through the table one more time about the Super Bowl. So, final predictions. Go.
All right, Vinny, you're the guest. Make a prediction.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
Well, I'm gonna go with it's so tough to go against the Bengals. It really is, but I'm purely because of Aaron Donald, Von Miller and that defense. I just think I'm not worried about him getting sacked too much. Just maybe the deflection, having the turnover opportunities against a second-year quarterback. I think that's ultimately going to be the factor. So I'm going to take the Rams in this one, a close one, and I'll say 33-30. I'll say 33-30.
Okay. All right. So, Tom, what about you? Who do you pick to win the Super Bowl?
It's a lot closer than I think it's going to be, in all honesty. And I'm actually going to go for the upset. So I'm going to say the Bengals are going to beat the Rams. And I'm going to say, let's do by 3. We'll do 24-21 in favor of the Bengals.
Wow, defensive. I like it.
All right. Brittany, what about you?
I think the Rams are gonna pull it off, but it's gonna be a tight game.
What do you think the score is gonna be?
Should we keep it in trend with a game-winning field goal? Spend most of the playoffs.
Yeah, I could see why that would be the case. So what do you think is gonna be? Like 24-21, 17-14? Like, what do you think it's gonna be?
I think. I don't know. I don't like to do numbers.
Fair enough. What about you, Sean?
Okay, I know I said the Rams earlier, but I am changing my pick. I like the underdogs more anyway, so I'm gonna say Bengals 30-24.
Ooh, 30-24 Bengals. All right, so we have 2 Rams and we have 2 Bengals. So for me, I'm going to go with the Bengals, and I think they're going to win this game 29-24.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting game, to say the least. I mean, and I like it. 2 different teams for a change. We don't get to see them very often in these situations. So it'll be a fun time. But I was going to say, as we get closer to draft, Vinny, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
That Can we talk about the Washington Commanders?
Not even worth talking about.
I take that as a no.
No, they would have been better with a different name. Or had they not gone, whoa.
Is the helmet just a W, or is it that 1932 command? Is the helmet the W?
Yeah, that's the W for Washington.
Wow. That's all they could do, huh?
Literally. That's all they did. That's
Seriously.
all they did. This is a joke. All right.
This was the best they could do.
Oh my
Seriously.
gosh. Football team sounds way better than this.
Yeah, honestly.
I know.
Gosh.
If it's a Washington football team at this point.
Or the Washington.
Nobody's going to call them the Commanders.
Or
it's not like an old.
Nobody with a normal functioning brain is going to call them the Commanders. Just like nobody with a functioning brain is going to call the Cleveland baseball team Cleveland Guardians. Like, give me a break with that.
Seriously.
Yeah. That's literally an XFL team name.
Yeah.
These are high school varsity team names. What the freak?
Yeah.
And designers.
I will say this, though. The name itself, the Washington Commanders, and I was telling the boys something about this earlier today, and that was the joke what I was going to tell you earlier is the name itself makes it sound like a Korean team name that you would do in Madden 2005.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yep, and on top of all that, who the hell is going to say the Washington Commanders? Just as a butt-end joke, you might as well just call them the commies.
That's what I was just going to. You just kicked that out of my mouth. I was just going to say that. That's hilarious.
I don't know.
Oh man!
Wait, isn't the Commanders a cartoon with a kid in like underpants or something?
I don't know.
Captain Underpants or something?
Is that who you're referring to, Captain Underpants?
Maybe.
Come on.
That's what it reminds me of.
Like the name, the name itself is just so stupid.
It's a joke, man. It's so freaking. You want to talk about generic? This is the epitome of generic.
You can't even
They should
shorten
take
that.
18 months to think about it. And it's like, nah, we like the Redskins. We're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, you should have
2
just kept it
years.
the Redskins.
It took him
They
2
did,
years
yeah.
to come up with this.
I know.
It's like-
Seriously.
Ugh.
And wait,
Right.
wait, you know what? And you know what I also noticed too is when teams change their names, whether it's the Cleveland Indians or the Washington Redskins, because they want to change their political ideology, they end up coming. Yeah, wokeness. Thank you. That's exactly what I just said.
Gosh,
Yeah,
man.
and it gets to a point where people are like, okay, so if you have a better name, why don't you do that? And then all of a sudden, like, what the fuck is this?
For real. Like, dude, this is the result of this is what happens when you bend the knee to a minority that don't even watch sports.
Right.
Basically.
My gosh.
Honestly, yeah, Sean, literally.
Oh man.
This is a waste.
Yep.
The only thing we
And you
can
know
hope
what?
is there's so much backlash that they actually do change it before the season starts. If there's enough backlash, and why can't you? I mean, I think it's just a terrible name. It's just, and I thought Seattle
Ugh.
Kraken. I thought Seattle Kraken. No offense, I love that. Look at that logo. They at least, I mean, they could have at least made the W look like something. What are you going to make it look like? A commander?
Yeah,
what does that
seriously.
even?
What does a commander even look like?
What does
Or
it
the
even look
Washington
like?
Redskins. I would have done that. I think, like,
Oh,
for me, I think they should have went with a name that had the word red in it, like Red Tails, Red Wolves, Red Hogs. The word red should have been in the name.
Red arrows.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
don't
think I
You guys
remember
are not
hearing
the only
about
ones
this.
saying that today too.
No.
Hang on,
that's not my
I think I remember
question.
hearing about this.
Red alert.
I think for some reason, I forgot what the reason was why they didn't go with the Red Hawks or Red Wolves, something like that. I don't know, some stupid reason, but I think they were leaning towards that.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
But you know what? No, you know what's really embarrassing is the Washington football team at the time had a poll and they had fans submit the name of their choice. And, people had different opinions. And then, like, a month before the reveal, it was like, oh, sorry, due by popular demand, we're not going to use those names. We're going to come up with our own names. So
I think that was the reason I saw it. Like, are you kidding me? Why did you even do the poll in the first place if you're going to do that?
Right.
But-
yeah, it's just a big FU to your fan base. It's really
Literally.
what it is.
all they did with the logo was just draw a line in between the W's. That's all they did. They changed the
Freaking
color of it.
outline. My gosh.
Like all they
Terrible.
did was
Terrible.
literally, hold on. Let me get a bigger picture of this. Let me get a picture of this so that you guys can see this better.
Oh my
Look at
gosh,
the
man.
stupid logo.
The freaking jersey, the freaking uniforms too, man.
Look at this stupid
Yeah, those are
logo.
garbage.
No, legit. Look at that stupid logo.
It's like
Literally, take a good look at this.
you could have paid
Does
a
this look
5-year-old
like
to make
anything
that.
for a team in the NFL? Does that look like anything you would use in an NFL brand?
Oh,
No, that's what you would
Exactly.
use that's what you would use for a high school football team.
right.
Yeah, and on top of all that, this is what they did. They took a pen. Eep, eep. That's all they did.
Oh my gosh. Such a waste. Ugh.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, we can always go into more about that on another show, but yeah, that was right.
Imagine being this freaking stupid and woke that you decided to humiliate your fan base with a dumbass name. That's, like you said earlier, that's the equivalent of an EA Sports create a team name in Madden 05. Seriously, that is the stupidest name I have ever heard for a professional sports franchise.
Yeah.
The Cleveland
gosh.
Guardians was dumb, but this just takes the cake. I'm sorry.
I think
Right.
that logo's going to be the Washington fans' 13th reason.
Probably. But I will say this. I do like the jerseys, though. I like the jerseys. I like the design. And the one thing I think that's unique is the black alternate with the helmet. That
Well, I was just going to say,
That
look,
isn't bad.
looking at it now, looking at it, I do like the jerseys, especially the black one.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
The jerseys
I'll
are
give them
cool.
that.
I agree, Sean. I like the black ones too.
bottom row second picture.
Yeah.
This. My God.
Why their faces look like that?
Because they look horrified. Terry
They're
McLaurin,
like, why are we the Commanders? This is stupid.
seriously. Well, I don't know what Dan Snyder and Ron Rivera were thinking in this process. Okay, let's see. Red Wolves, cool. Red Tails, cool. Hogs, cool. Nah, we're just gonna scrap it. We're gonna go with what we think is best.
I mean, Red Wolves would have been like far
Yeah.
superior to
Totally.
that. Red
Tails would have been awesome, but
Right.
they
Red
And they
could've-
could have kept the same logo if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
yeah. And when they become the butt end of the joke, they're gonna be called the Washington Communists.
No, that's gonna.
They
For that
just set
reason,
themselves
I
up
think
for
they'll-
failure.
For that reason, I think they'll change the name by September. So here comes a new poll for the team name.
Right.
Oh my
right.
gosh.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
Yeah,
with
they might not.
Rios.
They might not have a choice. But what you know? What
Yeah.
I don't think they will. Watch them. I'm betting you right now. They're gonna double down on this.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Ugh. My gosh, they are going to double down on this.
Right, right.
I'm calling it.
And you better like it. I think the Washington football team was a lot better than the Commanders.
Yes,
Yeah,
way
seriously.
better.
Seriously.
Yes.
But
Yeah, and that's like
the no names.
yeah, and the jersey, Jesus Christ, what's with the name? It says Commanders right on it, right? And has 2 lines. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Are people this stupid to not know how to spell Commanders? So you write Commanders on the jersey, and the Washington road jersey itself is probably of all the 3 that are available, the Washington one, the white one, the road jersey, I think that one is the most so off of the 3 because at least the black is the closest thing to the current burgundy jersey. That's
Right.
to me you know what I mean? Like the amount of assness that comes out of this, waiting 2 years and you're waiting to get a new stadium in 2027 by the time Tom Brady's in the Hall of Fame. And then you're looking to get $1 billion worth of investment and funding just to get a stadium, only just to blow up in your face.
right.
Ugh.
Good point.
I don't get it. Like, who came up with this name? It's so stupid.
For real, man.
I know. But I will say this though. On that note, we'll wrap up for this week. And Vinny, I want to say thanks for coming on. It was nice to have you on for our first time in a while. Definitely call in and come on more often. We'd love to see you. And then really from there, guys, first we'll be back next week as we usually are. Check us out on YouTube later on during the week. And then that being said, take care of yourselves and each other, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Go Bills.
Later.
Buffalo After Dark is an H&H Studio production and is produced in partnership with Horns & Hooves Entertainment.